All right, it is time to make my daughter's breakfast for the week. And so this week I'm making her a loaf of lemon blueberry, we'll call it cake bread. It's not really bread, but because it's on the sweet side. It's kind of like a pound cake. So we're going to take 5 tablespoons of butter and melt it. Okay, and then we're going to, it's going to be baked on at 350. I've already lined my bread pan here with parchment. You could also just grease it if you want. You could even bake it in a square 8x8, cut it in squares. It doesn't have to be a bread pan. I've already washed my blueberries over here and I've got them drying off. So the flour is 1.5 cups of all-purpose. This is a 1/2 cup, so I'll need 3. There's 1, 2, and 3. Baking powder is a teaspoon, and salt is also a teaspoon, which sometimes I go a little less on that. I've got this quarter one sitting here, so I'm just gonna use it up. So, which will probably be good for the salt since I want less. So we'll need 4 of these for the baking powder. I just use Great Value. Okay, and then I think I'm only gonna, maybe I'll do 3/4 on the salt instead of a whole teaspoon. You need it for it to rise, so. And she's not salt sensitive like I am. But I don't want to make her that way. Alright, so I did 3/4 of salt. Kind of whisk that together a bit so that it's dispersed evenly. While this is a lemon blueberry bread, cake, whatever, I do not have any fresh lemons, and yes, they do make it much better, so I will be using just lemon juice today. And also, I'm going to throw in 2 packages of True Lemon. This has a really nice strong lemon flavor, especially if you make a glaze on top, which I won't be doing, but you can easily put glaze on top of this. So I'm going to add 2 of these just right into the this flour mixture here. Since it's crystallized, I think we should disperse them in there. So just mix that up a little bit. Okay, so now to the melted butter, I'm going to add my eggs, vanilla, lemon zest, and lemon juice, which I don't have any zest today. But I'm not going to add the eggs first because this is pretty hot, so I'm going to go ahead and put the sugar and vanilla in first so that it cools off a little bit. The sugar is a cup. I do cut that down to 3/4. I will put the full recipe as written in the description, and you can adjust it if you want to, or you can just make it the way it's supposed to be. But I do try to cut back on the sugar. Diabetes runs in my family. I'm pre-diabetic, so I don't want to give my daughter too much sugar. I do have stevia and things like that. If I were making this just for myself, I would use, which is totally fine if that's what you want to do. It does work well. There again, I'm using whole milk in this recipe. I have made this with oat milk. That's totally fine. Doesn't really matter. You just need a moisture to add to it. But it can be any milk of your choice. Vanilla oat milk works good. Alright, speaking of vanilla, it's time to add that. It's a 1/2 teaspoon. My daughter likes vanilla, so I don't mind giving her like a full teaspoon on this. Especially this homemade vanilla. It's really good. So, you adjust it however you want. You could do lemon extract if you wanted to. I had made this with raspberry extract when I was completely out of vanilla. That was really good. All right, so now these are together. We can add our eggs. It's 2 eggs. This is one that I have that I used for something else to make an egg wash over some bread yesterday and didn't use the whole thing, so I'm just going to use that up so it's not wasted. I'm going to whisk this together really well. You can use a hand mixer. Now for the lemon juice, if I had a whole lemon, I would use the juice of 1 whole lemon. But since I don't, I will be using 2 tablespoons of the concentrate. In fact, I think I'm going to try 3 this time because last time I made it with the 2, it wasn't very lemony. So we're going to do 3 this time and see. Might be a little bit better. She don't really care. For her, it's just breakfast, so she's happy to have it. She loves any of my homemade bread, so. So mix that up really well. So now what we're going to do is, this is my own version, it wasn't in the original recipe, but I add about a 1/4 cup of either sour cream or vanilla yogurt. Today we'll be using vanilla yogurt. I just think it makes a good bread. Adds a little extra moisture. One of these cups I'm sure is more than a 1/4 cup, but a lot of times I just add the whole thing in it because no one really eats the leftover spoonfuls of it. So I'm just going to put 1 cup of this in. It's 5.3 ounces if you're wondering. Once that gets smoothed out, what we're going to do is alternate adding our flour and milk in. Sometimes I go a little heavy-handed on the flour if I know I'm putting this whole cup of yogurt in there, because it's not part of the original recipe anyway, to compensate the extra liquid. I think I have made it before and forgot to even put the milk in there. It's kind of a forgiving recipe. Okay, so speaking of milk, it's a 1/2 cup. I did not bring my 1/2 cup over, so I'll grab one real quick. So we're going to alternate adding these 2. Got my 3/4 cup here I used for the blueberries earlier, so I'm just gonna put that much of a 3/4 cup because I do have all that yogurt in there. Alright, so we're going to start adding our flour. You also want to take about a tablespoon of flour and toss your blueberries in it. I'm using fresh blueberries today. I have not tried this with frozen just because I always buy the fresh, but frozen does work too. But if you toss them in blueberry, it keeps them from all sinking and staying in one spot. They kind of disperse better through the bread with the weight of the flour. I'm just going to dump it all in there. I'm not big on the whole patience for alternating this and that, so what I'm going to do is, instead of getting another container out, just going to put me a little, since I think I need a little bit of extra flour anyway, I'm going to add what I would consider a tablespoon to that. And that's going to be for my blueberry tossing. See how they're coated? Oops. See how they're coated? That keeps them from, that will help them disperse properly inside your bread. My daughter's not picky. She wouldn't really care, but so we're just gonna get this all mixed in, add in blueberries, pour and bake. That's it. If I had lemon zest, I would have added that already. Probably would have added it to my flour mixture. Or you could add it to either one, the flour or the liquid. Doesn't matter. Bake. It's supposed to bake 350 for 50 minutes in a regular oven. I do use my little toaster oven, which bakes really, really fast. And for me, it's done in 40 minutes. So you will just have to check it according to your oven. Okay, so we're not trying to get all the lumps out. We just want it mixed up well. We're gonna add these in. And because I want that little bit extra flour, I'm actually gonna scrape that out. And we're just gonna stir until they're, pretty much tossed in. All right. That happens to me a lot. It's really aggravating. Well, so we all have mistakes, right? What I typically will do a lot of times is just spoon it in. I think I'm going to tear that off so it doesn't burn all on the side of my pan. There we go. Typically I'll spoon some of it in first so that that paper can settle. I didn't do that because I thought, oh, it'll be okay. Well, it really wasn't. But it's all right. Okay. Maybe I should just try to at least get the corners so that it holds that paper down. This pan doesn't stick really. I just am in such a habit of putting parchment on everything. Or non-stick tin foil, but parchment's cheaper. Almost got myself a mess here. I'm gonna pause you for a second. All right, I got it all in there. And on the positive note, because it was on my fingers, I tasted it and I liked the lemon flavor this time. I thought it was pretty decent. So, I'm gonna take this over to our little oven. Preheated, it's on 43 minutes now. I meant to take that one rack out, but that's okay. She likes it brown on top. I did end up taking that other burner out too. Rack, so that it would be a little bit lower because, like I said, that oven cooks super fast. Ain't she a beaut? That is our lemon blueberry. I'm just gonna say pound cake. We're just gonna call it what it is. Alright, so I am gonna do the toothpick test. Make sure it comes out clean. Even though it's dark on top, doesn't mean it's necessarily done inside. I'm gonna go down one of these. Oh, I got a blueberry. That probably isn't very. I can tell by feeling that it's done. And yes, because it's all purple, we can't really tell now. See if the other end will go in better. Yep, see, it comes out perfectly clean. So she's done. But I am gonna let that cool completely on a rack before I cut it. But rest assured, when I do cut it, I will let you see the first piece. See you soon. Actually, I thought I would come back briefly and just let you see me take it out of the pan and put it onto a wire rack. And even though my parchment paper monked up royally, it should still come out without a problem. Still hot though, but I let it sit here for just a couple of minutes is all. So I'm gonna put it here and see, even though I can still peel that paper down without a problem. So, pan's still hot, but I'm gonna move it out of the way. There. See? I won't be glazing this, but I will put a recipe for the glaze in the description. And you would just let it cool a bit before you pour the glaze on, and then you just pour your glaze on top and let it drizzle down the sides. But I don't want the extra sugar, so I won't be making that. And that's it. All right, so here is our finished cooled lemon blueberry bread. Looks good, and the blueberries are dispersed nicely, which I don't care if they all go to the bottom anyway. That is why you flour them. And it has the consistency of like pound cake. All right. Breakfast is ready.